Are you unsure about how much time you are allowed to take off with your company's unlimited vacation policy? If you are, you're definitely not alone. My name is Cody Engel. I'm a staff software engineer. I've worked at a couple of companies now that have offered this as a benefit, and I just want to kind of share some techniques that I've learned along the way to make the most out of unlimited vacation time. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is with unlimited vacation time, your employer ends up benefiting as well by offering it to you as a benefit. So with unlimited vacation time, it is truly use it or lose it. You do not have a way of cashing out your accrued vacation time because you haven't accrued any vacation time. It's just you take it when you need it, you don't take it when you don't. So that's one way that the employer benefits from it. Another way is there's typically no acceptable amount of time that you can take off. With typical PTO banks, you know that you can take, say, 10 days off or 20 days off in a year. With limited vacation time, it's completely open-ended. You can take off 1 day a year, you can take off 50 days a year, whatever in that middle section. And because your employer doesn't have to give that definition, oftentimes employees will underutilize this benefit. They will take off fewer days because they don't want to be perceived as the lazy coworker that takes off too much time. So that's one thing to keep in mind, that when your employer is offering this as a benefit, they also get their own benefit from it as well. So some things that I would recommend doing in order to kind of rationalize how much time off you can take without being deemed as the lazy coworker is to look at how much time off you would get at other companies that do not offer unlimited time off. For myself, I live in Chicago. Many companies that don't have an unlimited vacation policy will usually give around, say, like 20 days off in vacation time. Something that you can do yourself is you can just take a look at Glassdoor and see what are some of the more generous vacation policies out there. When I was looking, I noticed that about 3 to 6 weeks was about the norm for clearly defined PTO banks. But again, it'll kind of vary by region to region, so keep that in mind when you're figuring out like how much time off can you take without having to look like you're being lazy. So another thing that you want to take into consideration when you are trying to figure out how much time off you could take off is just to look at how much time governments in other countries mandate employers give their employees in paid time off. This does not include holidays in these countries. This is just strictly how much time off people are allowed to take off at their leisure. So Afghanistan, 20 days off. Australia, also 20 days off. In Canada, the number will range between 10 to 20 days of guaranteed time off. Denmark, they mandate 25 days off. France, they also mandate that you have 25 days off. In Germany, you get 20 days off. Over in India, it's 12 days off. Iran is 26 days off. Iraq is 20 days off. Russia is 24 to 42 days off depending on the region that you live in. Sweden, you get 25 days off. In the United Arab Emirates, it's 30 days. With the United Kingdom, it's 20 days off. And then with the United States, where I live, you are guaranteed 0 days off by the government. All right, so now that we've talked about how much time off in a year you could theoretically take in, say, a different country, or if your company didn't offer unlimited vacation time, the next thing to do is to really think about how much time off do you want to take in the next year. For myself, I've decided it's going to be anywhere between 20 and 30 days. I tend to have different projects that come up, and so that's why I've given myself a bit of a range. If things get a bit more hectic and I need more time off, I'll probably be getting closer to 30 days. If everything's going smooth, I may stay a little bit closer to 20 days. At a minimum, though, I would recommend trying to take off at least 15 days a year, which works out to about 3 weeks, which is what I've noticed for companies that offer unlimited vacation time that then also stipulate how much time off you should take. Most of the time, they're stipulating 3 weeks at a minimum. And then I wouldn't say that there's necessarily a maximum amount of time off that you should take, because that's a very personal thing. What I will say is, for myself in my own personal situation, I can't see myself taking off more than, say, 30 days in a year. All right, so now that you know how much time off you want to take in a given year, the next thing to do is to create a plan with your manager. So what I recommend is, in your next one-on-one, go talk with your manager, let them know that you want to take off however many days you want to take off. Come into that meeting prepared to explain why you want to take that amount of time off. They may have questions, like, why are you being so explicit with it, this, that, the other thing. So just be prepared to talk about it with them. Be prepared that maybe you'll have to come down in the number. Likewise, be prepared that maybe they'll just say, oh, yep, that sounds great. Next agenda item. So the main thing though is just you want to set those expectations with your managers so things are just clear. Like if you don't want to be taking off more time than they're expecting you to, and likewise you also, again, the point of this video, you don't want to take off less time than you potentially could be. All right, so now that you have talked about how much time off you want to take in the year with your manager, the next thing I recommend doing is to break that up into a digestible amount. The reason why is vacation time isn't immune to procrastination. I've been guilty myself of saying, well, this project, this is really important. I need to just keep focused on it. And once I'm done with this project, I will take some time off. Well, then another project comes and another one and another one. And before I know it, like I haven't taken off any time. So what I like to do is give myself a goal per quarter, how much time I'm going to take off. And in order to get to that number, I just take my planned time off, divide it by 4, and then I know how much time off I want to take in a quarter, and then just kind of go with it. So I know like if the end of the quarter is approaching and I haven't taken off any time, I know, well, I should probably take some time off. Something else that I've also tried to use is looking at holidays that are coming up and trying to pad that holiday to become a much longer holiday. So for example, with the 4th of July, I believe that happened on a Thursday, and so I took the Friday off. So instead of having to just get Thursday off and then go back into work on Friday, I had Thursday off, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I gave myself, instead of a normal 2-day weekend, I got a 4-day weekend. And you can do that with other holidays too. Oftentimes at the end of the year, I try and just take off between Christmas and New Year because they end up being so close together. I take off a minimal amount of actual vacation time and I get basically 2 weeks off. So yeah, I would just recommend look at holidays if you're struggling to figure out, well, when should I take time off? All right, so a bit more of a minor thing, but when it comes to taking time off, I would just keep in mind whether or not you want to take a vacation or a staycation. I see a couple differences in both of them. So with a vacation, there's a lot more upfront planning, but it gives you a chance to recharge quite a bit more because you're not stuck at home with home-related things. And on the other hand, with a staycation, you can just plan those on a whim. You don't have to book a plane ticket or anything like that. And then the downside is you're still at home. It's not really a true vacation, but I found that a staycation is really great when work has just become overwhelming and you just need a little break from the world. Whereas a vacation is really great when, life has just gotten really crazy. You just need a good chance to recharge on everything. And yeah. All right, and then another thing that I would keep in mind when you do get around to taking time off is set expectations with your team. Let them know, what your availability will be. Oftentimes I'll just let my team know, hey, I will check Slack once a day, or I will check email once a day. But otherwise, I'm completely gone from the world. Don't expect me to be able to jump on issues or questions right away. Another thing that I'll do is I'll give my manager my cell phone number. I'll let them know, hey, if the world's on fire, give me a call, and I can help out. But otherwise, the team can handle whatever. And that's another important point to make is when you are getting ready to take time off, make sure that anything that you would be blocking people on, or if you are the single point of failure, make sure that you're not the single point of failure anymore. Take that time to educate people on your team so they feel empowered to be able to make decisions, because the more empowered your team feels, the less they're going to bother you to help with stuff while you're on vacation. All right, and so with that, I have a question for you. After watching this video, how much time off are you planning on taking? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know if this video helped out at all with like easing some of the anxiety that you may have had around an unlimited vacation policy. All right, and otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, just be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to stay up to date on any new video I release, be sure to subscribe. If you want push notifications, click the bell icon. And otherwise, I will see you in next week's video.
Oh, do you wait for the train?
Yeah.
It's a bad weekend. They're going all the time for a lot of them.
I know.
Did like every train just go past?
Yeah.